You're now listening to the show about the shit in life that's just a bit too much, from the perspective of stand-up comics. With our hosts, Carmelo Bongiovi and Ken Krantz. This week's topic, Bombs Away, with our guest, Pedro Garcia. This is A Bit Too Much.
Governor's is a good room. It's a good club. The main room. The rooms downstairs are fucking miserable. It's so Long Island. Like downstairs, you go down there and it's just like fucking women with a lot of hairspray and they're just miserable. Like old couples that are just like, how did I get here? Like they're fucking miserable. And it's so funny because you've got that giant difference. Like upstairs is actually an awesome room.
Yeah.
And downstairs, there's 2 rooms, I think, downstairs. I've done one of them and they're terrible.
Yeah.
They're fucking awful.
I like a bitch with hairspray. I like that. I don't know. Is that weird? No.
You like a bitch with hairspray?
Yeah, like they got a lot of hair products in their shit.
Yeah, but this isn't like a young, hot, too much hairspray. This is like a
dried out bitch. I like it.
Yeah. This is like she's in there with her third marriage.
Yeah.
You know?
I like that stuff.
Yeah. You like
sausages, that kind of bitch.
Yeah. Real heavy Long Island accent.
How's your mother? Yeah.
Long Island.
It's my arch nemesis crowd is a Long Island fucking
tough,
a female, like a middle-aged female from Long Island is. You couldn't pick if you had to pick by demo. Are we recording, by the way?
Yep.
Right. If you had to pick by demo, you couldn't pick a worse demographic for me than like an old white woman from Long Island. For some reason, I've never made a single person like that laugh.
Yeah.
Like that is my arch nemesis.
Yeah.
I see them in the crowd. I'm like, they're gonna fucking hate me right away.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like sometimes it's dirty and that's just like not what they're ready for, or if it's something, I'm not sure what it is, but like there's no one that hates me more.
Yeah.
than like a middle-aged Long Island white woman.
Yeah.
A lot of hairspray. They probably smell like cigarettes and like a perfume.
Yeah.
And hair product. That's the worst audience member. Do you do that sometimes? You go like, this kind of person hates me?
Yeah, I definitely have that. I have it's the young baby girls, dude. They don't like me.
The younger women?
The 21-year-olds that bring the boyfriends that are laughing at everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think about it,
they
as different as those 2 women seem, they're kind of the same person.
Yeah. Well,
in terms of like what they're grumpy about.
Exactly. Because they're mad because I'm having fun. and saying silly stuff. They're mad because I'm saying stuff and getting away with it. And they're just like looking at their boyfriends, and I'm like, oh well.
Yeah, they're like, I'm used to controlling his mood.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't control your mood.
That's interesting though, because I do think there's an element of that, of like people are annoyed, like, well, how come you get to say that?
Yeah, and like I'm here
having
my
sure.
period.
Yeah.
And I'm here bleeding in my seat. Yeah,
for
while
sure.
You're having fun.
Listen, I had an ex like that. It was like if I smiled too much, it was like, what are you up to?
Yeah.
Like,
I
do stand up. What do you want?
I think
know
that's
what I mean?
all women, dude. Because like my girlfriend would be like, yeah, go ahead, play video games, and then 5 minutes later she's there standing. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, what do you want me to fucking do? You just told me to leave you alone. And it's like, oh no, you can't have fun.
Yeah, I think the best to get in like long-term relationships.
Yeah,
you're in a long-term relationship.
Yeah, it's been 2 years. Yeah,
2 years.
Well, not 2 years. Yeah,
it's been.
But for a Hispanic guy, that's a fucking long time. Okay, like that's 2 lifetimes.
Yeah, that's like 14 years in white dude years.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. We might as well have 2 kids.
So Hispanic years are the same as dog years?
Yeah, exactly.
7
yeah.
each.
That's my theory. That's
exactly,
my theory.
dude. That's
gotta be racist, and I don't even know why.
And we keep eating pork.
You have kids in litters. I get it. I get it.
No, exactly. Yeah, I'm part of a litter.
Yeah, 2 years is part of it. 2 years is not long, but you're in a serious relationship.
Yeah, I love this one this time.
Yeah,
I mean it this time. That's why it's long for me.
Did you say it
other times?
Say it last time, Joe?
Yeah, I said it fucking 7 other times. I thought I meant it, but no. It turns
sorry, did I ask you how old are you?
I'm 34.
You're 34. Okay,
Yeah.
Got it. So 2 year relationship. Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. I think that the best in terms of heterosexual relationships, is all I could really speak to.
Oh no, she's a donkey. No, I'm just kidding.
It's that race card again.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. So like I feel like the best it gets is like in heterosexual relationships. If you're with someone who likes that you have fun when you're with them, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
But none of them like when you have fun when you're not with them, right? Like, and this is I don't know if this is true of some guys too. Some guys might be like this. with their women. Like they want to be a part of the good time, and if you're not having it, they get like a little. Maybe, I don't know if it's jealousy or like curious. Like what? Why are you having something weird going on?
Yeah,
like if you're having, but I think it's hard in what we do too, because we do go out and not only do we have to be funny, but then there's like also the green room hangs.
Yeah,
and like that you are hanging out. It is social. It's a social career. It's not like it's not like you're going to the office and you're just like the office clown and you make a joke at the water cooler for 5 minutes and then you work all day.
Yeah,
the only work is the funny part.
That's the green room is where you verbal joust.
Yeah,
that's where you
it's a warm up to go
battle.
out too.
Yeah.
Like you kind of get yourself primed for the stage in the green, because you're doing it with other people who are on your level. When most of the time in regular, we've talked about this before, but like most normal people don't talk to each other the way we talk to each other. So you normally deal with people who are not as brutal and funny, or just like not as like can't take a joke that way. So you have to calm yourself around people that aren't comics, right? You got to temper your comedy a little bit around non-comedians in personal lives. I mean,
of course, that's why every job.
So you go to the green room and it's like no fucking limits.
Yeah, every job I've ever had, I just shut the fuck up. I don't.
Yeah, I'd rather not speak at all.
You know what I like?
Yeah, I agree with that.
When you write a response, like on Instagram or Facebook, like you start typing out a response and then you read it and then you delete it. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't even. I do a lot of that in my head. Like
when you're in conversation.
Yeah, when I'm just talking to people, I'm like, should I point out how funny this is right now? And then I'll just laugh to myself and be like, all right, I'm good. And then I just keep my mouth shut.
I also feel a little bit like, that, I don't know if anyone, like I know a lot of people have this like impulse, like when you're at a funeral, you want to do something. Like you ever like fantasize about doing something crazy at a funeral? Like, you know what I mean? There's like an instinct that I know some people have this. This is like a thing where some people are like, what if I just fucking screamed right now? Like if I did or like if you're in a library, like somewhere where you're supposed to be quiet or supposed to be respectful, or in a church, you have like an instinct to like maybe like act out if that's the kind of person you are. I think comics have that with non-comics. Like you're like, oh, just don't. So like the more I'm in that group, like the more hours I spent in that day with those people, especially if there's drinks involved, I'm like, I kind of do want to just say the worst thing right now.
Yeah, man. I live.
I want
shit.
to.
Oh man, I don't do it, but I want to so bad. That happened to me a month ago at a fucking wedding at a church. The lady was singing like, oh, and it was terrible. And something in me was like, dude, get up and go, shut up. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do
fuck
that.
Up. No one cares.
I was 300 milligrams deep in edible. So I was ready to risk it all just for the laugh.
Well, because I think what's something that people don't realize about a lot of comics is that our favorite moments are the jokes that are for us or for each other, more so than like everyone. You think like, oh, it's an entertainer. They live for entertaining people. It's like to a degree, sure. Yeah. But there's also like sometimes you might even enjoy kind of a bomb if you know what's on the audience. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, I'm kind of like I have said multiple times on stage, like I am not going to have a worse night than you're going to have.
Yeah.
If I'm going down, I'm going to start going one by one. And I've done that. I used to do it a lot more than I do these days. I'm a little too tired for that. These days, like it's a lot of work to just fucking hone in on people like that. Yeah. But sometimes that's fun. It's like, you know what? If you're going to be shitty, then let's go down together.
Okay, good. Because I've been feeling bad for the past couple of days. This just happened to me in Austin. What'd you do? So it was a show about 30 people, right? And then this group of like college girls walk in.
And the demo that hates you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like 20 of them.
White?
They walk in, I'll sit right here,
white,
right next to
a bunch of white girls?
Hindu.
No. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So it was weird. So I thought they were going to be respectful. No. So, I thought they were going to be very honorable. No, I was just kidding. No. I thought they had some fucking ding-a-ding-a-ding. No, I don't know. No,
they're going to go like
some honor,
it was going to be a wedding, a 4-day wedding.
Yeah. You ever seen that video? How can she slap? How can she slap?
I don't think I've seen that.
It's a Hindu guy that slapped a Hindu lady. And I thought they'd learn. Anyways, no. So whatever. They're talking to each other, right? And I let it slide. I talked to them. Hey, ladies, what's going on? And then they stopped talking. And boom, boom. I got a little laugh from them. Okay, let me go back to the crowd that's enjoying it.
Yeah, they walked in. Sorry, just set stage. They walked in while you were already on.
Yeah, while I was already on. I was like, "Come on, sit down, ladies."
It's a little disruptive.
Yeah, a little disruptive. Okay. So they're talking, and then whatever. I let them slide, and then got them a little laugh. Went back, started telling jokes, and I'm doing good. And then I hear chatter again.
Yeah.
So I try to just ignore it. I was like, "Fuck it." You know what? I have the crowd here, 30 people, and these swinging people. Fuck them. Boom, boom, boom. Then it gets a little too loud, and I see the audience members getting mad at them.
Yeah, sure.
They're looking over. They're going, "Shut up, shh." and then and I went, what the fuck are you bitches talking about? And bah! And they get a laugh.
Yeah.
And then one of them goes, you're not funny. And I was like, well, you're not pretty. And, and they get fucking furious. So then they fuel me and I go off. And I just start. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You have to sometimes. And sometimes, it's like when you get a heckler or someone who's just not paying attention or something like that. Sometimes your instinct is like, all right, I want to say something, but I want to say something that's funny. But sometimes you just got to be mean.
No, you have to.
I had a similar thing in Long Island once where it was like a giant group. It was a mix, men, women, but they were like in their, I don't know, maybe like early 30s, late 20s, and they were like really fucking drunk. They came in really drunk, and now they're ordering more, and they're getting really loud. They're getting so loud. Granted, it's not like a place that had like an amazing sound system. It was just a simple PA. The crowd couldn't hear me. I'm hosting. The crowd couldn't fucking hear me at all. Like I could barely hear my own projection on the PA as I'm talking because they're that loud. This is like 20 people, and they're acting like they're at a restaurant for someone's birthday. Like pass the calamari, it's that fucking loud. And I tried to roll with it. And I was like, just making comments about how drunk and stupid they are, how much cocaine is probably at the table. I'm making like some light comments, I'm thinking. And they're not, but they're not even hearing me. Yeah. It's the only time I've ever done this. I just started yelling at them. It was like, shut the fuck up. Because now I'm like, look around you. Look at everyone else. Look how mad everyone's turning around. Yeah. Looking at you motherfuckers. And I've never actually, because normally if it's a few people, you could go back and forth, and the person might be like, "You're not funny," whatever. Yeah. But this was so disruptive, no one could hear it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I'm like yelling at them. I'm like, and then I came off stage. And I was like, I felt like I had like blood on my teeth. I was like, I should I don't ever want to get that angry. Yeah. But it actually was like I didn't know how else to break. I couldn't make jokes because they wouldn't hear my jokes. Yeah. So I just had to I felt like such a dad. I was like, you guys shut the fuck up.
I will turn this bar around.
And here's the fucking problem.
No dessert.
Here's the problem is once you go, if you have to go that mad,
it's tough to circle.
You can't really go back. If you deal with a heckle in a way that you should deal with a heckle, like when it's like a few people and everyone can hear everything going on, you can go back into your jokes. Yeah. How do you go like, shut the fuck up. I hope you all die in fucking car crashes tonight. Yeah. So at the doctor, then do your fucking bit. Yeah. So I was like, all right, you guys ready for your first comedy? Which I felt bad for the opener at that point.
That's tough MC energy to follow.
Hosting.
Hosting.
You're a host doing that?
Because this was the beginning of the fucking night.
Shut the fuck up! I hope you all die. You ready to meet your next comic?
All right, guys. Barcode, QR code.
Don't forget to fill out the comment card.
Yeah. Please rate 5-star for the waitress staff.
I had maybe 6 seconds where I'm like, oh, I can't bring up the opener on this energy, but I didn't give a shit anymore. Yeah. And I felt I'm also not a great host. I forget everyone's I forget everyone's names.
Hosting stuff.
Because you have to be such a cordial person. Like it's not just about being funny. In fact, it's probably less about being funny. You got to be a little funny, but it's less about being funny and more about keeping the show moving.
Hey, hi, how's it going?
Talk to him a little bit, and like I'm okay with the little crowd work and stuff, but like I forget. I'll forget your credits if you told me 2 minutes before I went on. Yeah, especially if that's the energy. I'm so mad at this point. I'm like, your next fucking person. I'm not even introducing them correctly. Yeah. They went up completely, and it was just ended up being pretty disastrous. So it's one of those, that's probably, I never marked that up as like one of my worst bombs because I'm like, that's just a shitty audience. Mm-hmm. But that actually might have been one of my worst bombs because it wasn't even, there was nothing funny about it. Yeah. Nothing became funny.
We all have those, dude.
But I've had, you talking about green room and talking about bad shows. You guys had it was part of what Pedro came on. You were saying you had a show with them. You guys worked together for the first time, I think, right?
No, not the first time.
No, I worked with Ken.
Oh, okay, you worked together before.
Yeah.
Okay, but you had a weird night recently.
It was just a tough night.
Was it empty crowd or just a shitty crowd?
It was half empty or half full, depending on your attitude. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds half empty. The way you're describing it.
But yeah, they were just drunk, like pretty drunk for a Wednesday night,
And that's like weekday drunk isn't Friday drunk.
Right?
Like there's an energy to a Friday, Saturday comedy club.
You're covering pain on Wednesday.
Wednesday drunk is like, it's not happy.
It's not a celebration.
I agree.
You're covering pain.
Yep. Yeah, that's an after work fuck my boss drink.
Like, oh my God.
But there were just these two dudes up front that you could tell had been drinking all day, and they were just so disruptive. And
Just loud.
Yeah. And then every comic had to make everything about them because they wouldn't allow anything else.
Yeah.
But then you hear the green room.
And we're having a blast.
Yeah. It's so weird that you're like, before the show is the funniest part, or after the show.
Yeah.
The actual show may or may not.
The green room's always funnier than the show, though.
Yeah.
You know, you get a good group of comics in there. The green room's always got the potential to be funnier than the.
True.
But when you got no laughs going on in the room, and then all you get is laughing in there.
Yeah.
And you know, and if the crowd could hear the laughing, they're probably like, where's the show?
Sometimes the comics are more excited to be there than the audience is.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes that happens. Like we're like, yo, let's go, and they're the audience just his ass.
Weekdays could be tough in general for that reason, because it's like, if you think about anyone who's worked a 9 to 5, your energy on a Wednesday. You know, granted, don't go to the show, but like that's just not what happens, right?
Yeah.
In the city, it seems okay. Like
Yes.
I would, you know, like
different game.
You pop into Gotham on like a Tuesday or Wednesday night in the city.
I've had a great Mondays at the Gotham.
Yeah.
Gotham Comedy Club. It's like that's different. Yeah, you're right.
It's
different, but also you have younger people who go out.
Yep.
And want to be out.
Yeah.
When you're this was in Jersey. When you're in Jersey, Long Island, when you're in more like neighborhoody.
Yeah, like once you have to get in your car and drive there, I feel like you're already
getting out of work, getting on the subway, going for a drink, going to a show. You feel like it's a night out when you've got to like leave your home.
Right.
Because think about that. If you're local, you're
going home after work.
You finish work and you go home first.
Yeah.
And there's even if I'm performing, I don't want to leave the house once I'm in the fucking house.
Yeah, man.
Like, oh, God damn it. Like, even putting my fucking shoes back on feels like I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, that's why I get in an argument with my girlfriend right away.
She's
like, oh,
this place is.
I got a spot.
You know what it is? It's once you get in the house, putting on your shoes feels like a task. But when you got to kick your shoes on and storm out of the house,
yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But especially when I have weed in the house, I'm like,
it's hard, right?
Yeah.
How there's so much. Right.
An hour and a half. Ooh.
Like if I had to think about what's going to be a better night.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, weeknight. So the audience might come in pretty fucking like out of sorts. Mm-hmm. I had one in Westchester. I live in Westchester. I had one in Westchester. Not that recently, a few months ago, and the median age was like 85. Like, I mean, it was old. The ticket price was way too high. Like, the whole venue was dedicated to the show. It was a ticketed show. And it's not a comedy venue. It was a brewery. And so it's like, I mean, really, like, 90% of the crowd was almost 90. Like, I'm talking about in their 80s. I'm not even exaggerating. Hearing
Were there
aids,
any, like,
a full fucking thing.
IV bags, like, strolling around?
It was pretty fucking crazy. And it's like a little bit, and this is like northern Westchester, a little like blue collar. So, you know, you got like old people and like they weren't wearing MAGA hats. They might as well have been wearing MAGA hats. Super blue collar, you know. And it's like, and then and I'm bringing all city comics in. It's like with that energy, and then and like maybe there's a handful of people who are like in their 40s.
Yeah,
and those were the only people laughing the whole fucking show. But like, and there's another one where I emceed. I just have to stop emceeing. I'm not a good MC. But when it's like when I produce a show, a lot of times I feel like obligated to MC.
Yeah.
But I probably just shouldn't. But like I feel obligated to.
Yeah.
And I'm too cranky to like. I'm not good at like if the crowd is cold, not like bad or angry. I mean like they don't even know what to expect yet because this is a venue they go to normally, and now all of a sudden there's a comedy night. So they're out of sorts. And so I think it was also Wednesday night. they're really out of sorts, and they're like, they all look like they just woke up. They're just like fucking like, what's going on here?
Yeah, yeah.
And I go on the stage that isn't meant for comedy. There's like a weird strobe light going on.
Nice.
The PA system sucked. The crowd was lit. The stage was dark. Like it was fucking everything.
Okay. Makes sense.
Logistically, everything was wrong. And when I started talking, they didn't even. I think some people didn't even see me get on stage, and they were like looking next to each. Like it's like they were shocked, even though they had all paid for tickets to be there. So they were like a little shocked, and I'm eating shit so fucking bad up there, and I'm like, I have to again. Now I'm the MC. I got to like keep the show going, and I picked on a few people that got a little bit there, but by the time I brought up the opener, I was like, this is. It slowly got better through the night. Like every comic did maybe 5% better than the last comic. And that's the energy it ended on. So the headliner did maybe 15% better than me.
And the stage stayed
that's
dim?
just how it is.
The stage stayed dark the whole time?
Yeah. They didn't.
What the hell?
They didn't have a
man?
setup for it. They had house lights and they didn't have a spotlight. And they had like strobing stage lights. So, it was fucking weird, man. And that's the kind of thing where you're like, those are the I want to quit comedy nights. Those are like what the fuck am I doing?
If there's not a point in that you don't want to quit, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
I think about it daily.
All the time.
Every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one though I needed to like really I put in calls the next day. It was like, I need to get into the city and cleanse my palate. I don't want another mediocre suburban show. I need to like get into the city because the city is very different. And it's an energy level. Good shows, bad shows, right? But there's always an energy in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Manhattan show. That's where comedy fucking lives in New York, right? So it's like, you can always at least wake up a little bit and go like, all right, I felt like I sucked the other day. I shouldn't quit. There's still this out here for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Word.
I remember once I was opening for Rich Voss. We were in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I'm bombing as hard as I've ever bombed in my life. And it wasn't one of those bombs where, like, if I'm headlining and I'm bombing, I don't necessarily care as much. I'm like, all right, well, this is my show, so if they want to make it uncomfortable, let's see how uncomfortable we can make it.
Yeah.
If I'm featuring for somebody,
You feel like you feel responsible.
You feel a little bit responsible.
Yeah, sure.
All right, maybe I shouldn't just send this off the rails. So, in my defense, I was trying that night.
Which is more than we typically say about Ken.
I was trying. It just wasn't working. I was throwing everything against the wall and nothing would stick. And I get off stage and, my cell phone is on the stool because I'm recording the set. And I see there's a text from Rich Voss. And my first thought is like, he clearly knows I'm not near my phone. Like, he knows I'm not.
Right, he's waiting to go on.
Yeah, like he's waiting to go on. What could he possibly be looking to me for? So I get off stage and I open up his text and it just says Plan B.
There is something to that though. It is really
Voss is hilarious.
And you've known Voss for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Like it is something very fun about watching your friends bomb.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it is it's fun sometimes. So why because also there's where the full lineup bombs, there's bad audience bombs, right? There's really like this is a bad show, everyone's bombing.
Yeah.
And then there's like, you're the one that bombed. Those are different bombs.
Yeah.
You
ever go up early and then bomb and then you're like, oh, I hope the next person eats shit. Like, but then as soon as someone does well, you're like, oh, fuck,
it's me.
Yeah, it was me. It was me.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than being the one person on the lineup that bombs. And we've all had it, man. But when you're the one person, you can't. Because it's, at least when it's a bad audience and you all know it's a bad audience, you go back and everyone's like, fuck these guys. Like you talked about that show where everyone's just silent. Bad audience. Yeah. You're all like, fuck it. It almost becomes a joke that there is no joke. Yeah. Like it almost becomes a joke that you all go one by one and you're like, fuck these guys. And you commiserate together. Yeah. But when you're the one, you feel pretty fucking left out of the group.
My favorite is
you're like the weird kid at school that day. You know what I mean?
When that happens to some dudes and they're like, fucking audience, right? And everybody else is like, what? No, they're great.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing about one of the funny things about comics too is no one fucking sugarcoats.
Yeah.
So if somebody does awful and somebody does great, and that person who does awful says, well, that fucking crowd sucked, the guy who did great won't let it go.
Yeah.
Because it's also comedy is also competitive. As much as we
yeah.
can all be friends with each other, it also is competitive. So that person's also like, no, they're great.
Yeah.
You know, they all of a sudden they'll start defending the crowd, and then you got two people who are like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know,
A part of it,
Don't
you
blame
want
the
your boy to
audience.
do good, so that's why you're real with him. Like, nah, that was ass.
Yeah.
Like, do better. Like,
Yeah,
you
when it's your
'cause
friend, you
him
want-
to-
yeah.
you want him to do good.
you want him to do good, but you also don't want. Sometimes it's fun when they don't.
It's
It's funny. when they don't.
yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
I was at Gotham one night. I produced a show at Gotham for like 10 years, so I was there all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm downstairs in the lounge. We're doing a show, and then somebody from Gotham comes down and says to me, hey, Seinfeld's about to walk in upstairs. And I'd never seen Seinfeld do stand-up. So I'm like, fuck. So I run up. Like, I wasn't hosting, so I ran upstairs, and I'm watching Seinfeld. It was me and John Moses run up, and we're watching Seinfeld. And then I get a text from somebody downstairs. One of my friends was bombing, and it was a dude that very rarely bombs.
Okay.
So we're like, oh, all right. And then we're like watching Seinfeld. And then I show Moses the text. And then we're like watching Seinfeld. And then I was like, why are we watching Seinfeld? We got up, we ran out of Seinfeld. We ran back downstairs so we could watch the end of this dude's bomb.
Right.
And we just fucking like
Better
reveled
show.
in it.
Better
Yeah.
show for you.
So much better.
Rolling it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, because you know what's funny is you could always bring that up to that comic.
Yeah.
Joe Pontillo is a buddy of mine, and do you know Joe at all?
I think so. I think.
I mean, we've still bring up bad shows. I mean, 10 years later,
Yeah.
you know, he'll bring things up to me. He's like if I have a good show with him, he will remind me of these bad shows. Like he'll be like, yeah, but. He'll be like, you're inconsistent because remember this show. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
He actually said something really funny on the show. He goes, or something insightful on the show. He goes, people, when you think of comics bombing, you think of like the audience is silent or they heckle you. He's like, a true bomb, and this is true. I've had this. A true bomb, like the purest of bombs, when the audience starts doing something else. Like they almost engage in another activity, like they're not there. That is a low fucking moment. I can recall 17 of these right now if I had to.
I once had a dude doing a show, and this dude gets up, doesn't say a word, he's not heckling, and the show wasn't going well, but he got up and left, and he came back like 5 minutes later with a newspaper, and he sat at his table flipping through, like, you know, like the free newspaper that the restaurant gives out of like everything going on.
He takes out a newspaper in front of the stage, like in a seat.
He left. No, he like went. He was like, I got to do something else, and he came back with a newspaper and sat at one of the front tables and flipped through.
When the fuck was this? 1985? What the fuck? You didn't have a
Older
phone?
guy?
Older dude. Yeah, it was Cranberry, New Jersey. So pretty much
So,
1985.
did you hear the paper go?
There are parts of Jersey that are a fucking time warp.
Yeah.
You know, like it felt like 1985. Yeah, you know, I did a show once where I swear to you, this sounds fake. An old lady started fucking knitting at her table.
I've had that.
Like
What?
this bitch was so bored that she crocheted socks for her granddaughter.
Damn.
Like she took out a fucking yarn kit during my set. And I was so this was it was like a local show, it wasn't a comedy venue again. I think it was a coffee shop that did but they were selling liquor. Yeah, half of the crowd was young and into it, and half of the crowd was like they didn't this is not what they expected.
Yeah.
And this woman in front, later found out that this woman was actually like a famous designer of some sort. She had like some design that I forgot what it was, some either clothing design or something that like we would all recognize if we saw. She's like an artist. This is a pretty artistic community that I was in, like Lower Westchester.
It's also autistic to start knitting during a comedy show.
Yeah, she starts solving math problems.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So she fucking, I'm doing it right, and this is like I said, this is like a half. Like I got half the audience, and the other half, it's like a down the middle, and it's like the room is even situated that way. This side is laughing, this side is not. She's on the not laughing side. She goes in her fucking, like her bag even looked like it was knitted. Like it was just one of those, you know. This woman's in her I don't know, late 60s, early 70s, you know. And she takes out her bag and she just starts putting out materials. And I'm thinking, because I can't stop looking at her. I'm thinking she's digging through for her wallet. She's taking things out of her bag and putting them on the table I'm thinking she has to get something. She was taking materials out to start fucking knitting. So she's taking out her yarn, fucking her long needles to fucking crochet and all this stuff. And then she puts the bag back down, all this stuff still on the table. And I can't take my eyes off that. I'm like barely paying attention to what I'm saying. And she just starts fucking going. She starts knitting socks.
All she needs is a cat at her foot and a fucking fireplace. And the fuck.
Because usually when you buy a ticket to a comedy show, that's like you're expressing some sort of confidence that you're going to enjoy yourself.
But
this lady, like, she hedged her bets. She was like, I'm going to buy a ticket, but I'm going to bring my shit to knit just in case.
Yeah. Yeah, she might have intended to do this the whole time, or she's just an old lady that always carries that stuff on her, and she's like, I could be doing. It's like the guy getting the newspaper. It's like, I could be doing something I'm more interested in than this motherfucker.
How long have you been doing stand-up?
6 years now.
6 years. So have you noticed, like, does it just seem like people are just getting ruder and ruder in the crowds? Like, there's almost like no decorum left.
I think people are going in there expecting to get offended.
No, I'm just talking about like how rude. No, like how rude the audience members are. They're just disrespectful.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
As far as, I see people will answer their phone.
Yeah.
Like right in the crowd.
Oh, you said this recently.
I've seen it happen. I've probably seen it happen 10 different times.
You think it's like a post-pandemic, like people forgot how to act in public thing?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe there's.
And then they're all working from home, and like they don't go to the office as much as they used to.
I've seen so many people take a phone call in the middle of my set that I have a line that I go to now. So when I see somebody do it,
yeah, they have a line too. They have another line, another fucking call.
Please hold.
Yeah.
I'll say when I see them do it, I'll say, "Hey, is that your mom calling to apologize for how poorly she raised you?"
Oh shit!
Right.
Nice.
And
I like that too because you also sound like an old man saying that. You know?
That's real pull up your pants energy.
Fucking, that's a wag your finger joke if I've ever heard one.
I did it to this lady once, and she said, "No, it couldn't be my mom because she's dead." And then you just hear like all the air gets sucked out of the room. You could hear a pin drop, and then she goes, "Feel good about yourself?"
I would have lost it.
So
Yeah.
I said, "No, I don't feel bad because my mom's dead too." And then, if it was possible, you could hear it get even quieter. And then it was just a stare down. But then I just started cracking up because my mom isn't dead, So I was like,
you don't even have to bring it up.
I said to her, I was like, I'm just fucking with you. My mom's alive. I gave her a hug this morning. It was so wonderful.
There you go. See, that's where it gets good.
That crushed, right? Yeah. Oh
Fucking
my God.
place erupts. She walked.
Yes.
She walked
Yes.
out.
Oh, you walked her, yeah.
Fucking, the place came right back. The room came right back.
Yeah.
I love hearing
Yeah,
that.
it's like her hair smells like honey wheat.
Oh God.
That's great. I did this show
awesome.
maybe like last year where this woman, every comic, she kept on going, kill me. Oh, fuck it. Like you should audibly. She's there with like her, I want to say it's like her friend or sister. She's like an older lady. And then she had, they had two younger women with them, like maybe their daughters or something. It was like moms and daughters. And maybe they didn't expect comedy to happen. I don't really know what this was about. Like, I don't know why. It was a pretty good show. There's John Campanelli was there and he was killing, but they were not having it. Next comic, he like opened the show and left, and then no one is bombing, but they're fucking miserable. And that's a special kind of misery when you're the only one in the audience having a bad time. When the crowd's bad, that energy kind of like, it becomes like cancerous in the crowd and it kind of spreads, right? But when you're the only miserable motherfucker there, you've got to know it's you, right?
Yeah.
But I guess maybe so she kept going, kill me. So I got up there and I was like, let me guess, kill me. Like that's you're going to say, kill. I've been hearing you all fine. Cause I was sitting right behind them and she got like, kind of like quiet, like, oh shit. Like, cause she was saying it loud enough to where she wanted the comics to hear, but I guess no one called her out on it.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I hope your wish comes true. I hope your daughter is the Gypsy Rose of the family. And she just, the fucking crowd loses it. She, as I'm going, I see them gathering their things. Whole family gets up and leaves. The fucking daughter, though, like looks back and she's like, Like she loved it because I think I'm pretty sure that was her mom.
Yeah.
And the younger girls were trying to actually be a part of it, and the older women were so mad. And maybe their daughters brought them there. I don't really know this. I don't know. But it was one of those things where it's like, you bring that energy. You're the only ones in the crowd bringing that energy. Yeah. You know what I mean? And look, part of me, like as a comic, I'm like, it's kind of sometimes it's a cop out to blame the audience. Yeah. Like if you have a bad night, you have a bad night.
I feel like,
but this was not that. This was they were having a bad night.
I feel like most good comics know the difference.
Yeah. You know when it's you.
Yeah. You know when it's you. And I know there's some comics that are like, there's no such thing as a bad crowd. It's always you. It's like, no, there's definitely such a thing as a bad crowd.
Yeah.
You know when it's you and you know when it's them.
I think some comics get jaded. Like if you talk to a city comic, they get jaded of like, you do have the best audiences in the world. If you talk to a Manhattan comic, right? Like if all you do is do spots in the city, you don't really, the worst crowd is still better than a mediocre or even pretty good crowd in like a suburb. Mm-hmm. Suburban bad crowds can be really fucking hard because they don't. Sometimes they look like somebody picked them up and dropped them off there. Sometimes, like they don't look like they want to be there at all. And maybe they know one of the comics on the show, or one person in their party of 6 bought a ticket for all of them. It's gonna be a great night out.
Yeah.
And brought 5 other miserable people with them. Those are tough ones, man, because those people do not want from the start of the show don't want to be there.
Thanks.
You know what? Sometimes though, it's like sometimes you have to tell yourself, like when you see somebody sitting there clearly not enjoying themselves. Yeah. Sometimes I'll just say to myself, you know what? I have no idea what happened to this person today. Mm-hmm. Maybe they bought tickets to this show last week and their fucking grandma died today, or they got laid off, and maybe they showed up anyway. And don't take it so personal. Yeah. I even remember saying that, like I saw a lady making a lot of faces, and instead of like making fun of her, I just asked her. I was like, I'm trying to do this thing now where I'm a little more empathetic to the audience, and maybe it's not me that's causing you to look like this. Yeah. I was like, maybe you had a bad day. I was like, is everything all right? And she was like, no, it's you.
It's having a great day.
Lady was like, yeah, I was having a great day right up until I walked into this shitty show.
I was having a great day.
Oh, well, then fuck you, bitch.
Have either of you ever been booed off the stage?
No.
Yes.
But something close.
What happened?
Nothing. It was like a comedy competition that was like 5 months in.
Those are fucking miserable. By the way.
Man, dude.
Those are miserable.
Yeah.
You only do those in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because you realize what they are.
Yeah. So it was all
where,
right.
Where was it?
What's up?
Jersey?
Oh no, New York. It was at this place called the West End.
Yeah.
West End. Yeah. So I did the first competition. This was the second time. The first one I got second place. So I went into this one like I got it.
That new comic energy where you think you're fucking.
Yeah, I was like, I'm
so good at this.
Man. Oh man, my dreams are coming true. Fucking idiot, dude.
Little retard. We all had.
Oh, I'm gonna next visit. Yeah, so I'm the next one. No, it's so stupid, man. Oh,
you think you're the best on every show?
Yeah. Oh god, no wonder everybody hated me. No, what you would call it? So. I go. It's like the first round. I go up there and I'm telling my jokes, and it's like most of it is just how gay dudes hit on me.
Yeah,
just not making fun of them, not saying anything about it, just saying how like
what they say.
Yeah, what they say and how I respond, and literally, like the gay dudes are laughing, but it's not that many gay dudes in there.
Yeah,
but everybody else, one girl with an afro stood up and said no in the middle of silence. And I've never felt a heat on the back of my neck like that, dude. Like, and it's like a hotness and it's cold sweat.
Yep.
Yeah. You had COVID.
I was up there for a minute and a half, and my shirt
comedy
was
COVID.
drenched, dude. And I get off the stage, and the producer goes, "Do you know this is an LGBTQ show?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "You'll never work in New York City again." I walked out. I got home. I didn't sleep. I was like, "Fuck, I'm fucked. These gays are gonna fucking kick me out of comedy."
That's funny. The gays are all talking about this right now.
I was like, oh no.
Yeah, there is something about this goes to what both of you just said because time I've like actually got booed. It's the only time I've ever got like boo. And also in terms of like not being outside the demographic of not to say that you have to be a part of it, but like if you are a different, categorized of a different person, sometimes when you bomb in front of an audience that doesn't feel like they don't feel like you're their person, it hits even harder sometimes. So years ago, Caroline's was still around, obviously. Ed Lover, do you know Ed Lover, the hip hop radio DJ? Mm-hmm. Yo MTV Raps and all this stuff. So
horny ass name, by the way.
Ed Lover, yeah. Well, listen, he grew up. He was big in the '80s. You could just be like, I'm Rick Dick. It's like whatever you want to.
I'm Ed Lover.
Yeah, I'm Ed Lover. Yeah, very R&B feeling, right? It's
hey,
like,
baby.
Like I'm gonna fuck everyone.
Yeah.
Ed Lover's a great dude. He's a really good guy, and I worked with him. I worked in radio at the time, and he was on Power 105, and I was like working behind the scenes in radio. I was working like promotions and stuff, and he heard I was a comic. He was like, "I'm doing a show at Caroline's." I was like, "Really?" Like it was such felt like such a huge opportunity, and I went. So I did 2 of his shows. First one, I did so fucking well that I had that energy. Now this is the first time I've ever performed in front of an all black crowd, right? And to me, to a degree, it was a little intimidating to me. I felt like I don't know that I have the material that this crowd's gonna like resonate with, and I did great. And I was like, that was fucking. I was like literally like I had that young comic thing of like, I'll never bomb again. Yeah. Like I thought I was the greatest because I killed so hard, right?
Joe Rogan's going to check me off tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, this is before this is before the podcast. This is a very long time ago. And it's Caroline's. That fucking place just sat a lot. It was sold out. I don't know how many Carolines sat, but I want to say it was like
probably like 300.
About 300, right? Yeah. So it felt great. That was the biggest audience I'd ever worked. It felt great. I felt like a real comic for the first. I was in a green room for the first time because all the other shows I did, I'm like hanging out by the bar. I was like, I'm great. So he's like, you did great. Why don't you come? Doing it like in 2 months. Come back. I was like, we'll do one more show without you. Like he did a monthly show at Caroline. He had a residency at Caroline's. Come back in 2 months, and I mean, it couldn't have been more of the opposite of what my first show was. I got maybe. I want to say my opener got a laugh, like a half laugh, half the audience laughed, which felt like still a big laugh because still 150 people laughing. And then from that point on, just fucking nothing. And I was getting scared. Yeah. Like I actually felt, I don't know why, I just felt like it was, I think it's because there's so many people in there and I was used to smaller crowds that the silence felt more deafening in that big ass room.
Yeah.
The Carolines had seating that went up, like it was tiered. That's not something I was used to. Like I'd done a lot at the time in New York Comedy Club, smaller room, which also a great club, but like much smaller room, much more like you could see everyone in the crowd. It was like it was a scary thought. It was like there's people not laughing that I can't see. Yeah, they're in the dark out there, and they hate me so much. And I want to say, I only had 10 minutes of stage time, and I want to say like 4 or 5 minutes in, I just started getting booed, like. Boo! Get off! And I didn't leave. I fucking stuck it out. I've never.
I got booed off the stage.
I've never except for like emceeing and like just deciding I want to do less time. I've never left stage early, no matter how bad it is.
This was a black crowd?
Yeah.
Did a guy tap dancing come out and take you?
Yeah, they're Apollo, right? Apollo? Yeah. No, I mean they hated me. This is my wife now. At the time I'm dating her. So yeah, this is like 15 years ago, maybe 14 years ago, something like that. And she brings all of her friends. She brings all of her friends. They're the only white people there, and she brings all of her friends. And this fucking they're not even laughing. By the way, I didn't even get the fucking sympathy laugh from the people I knew. I mean, when I tell you, there's never been a more silent 300 people in the world.
I got booed off the stage by a black crowd 5 minutes into a 20-minute set, and
you left. You got off.
No, the dude that booked me was waving.
Oh, he's like, get off.
He was waving the lit cell phone like his hand was on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got It was this monthly show in Asbury Park. When I started out, I did a lot of black rooms because you can get time on them.
Yeah.
And they would give you long sets, so you got to kind of stretch. And I did all right with them.
Yeah.
I found like the secret was you don't change up at all. Because
Yeah.
they said like if you're pandering, any crowd
Of course,
will
any
sense
crowd
that.
will send. Yeah, of course. Just do your thing.
Just
Yeah.
do your thing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
learned, and I found out quickly that seemed to work. And so they never had a white comic on this show before, and and they were like looking for one, and I got recommended, and they like made a big deal. I got there, they were like, "You're our first white dude, man. This is gonna be so
Yeah.
good." And I remember I opened with a joke about who was that hot lady that got away with killing her kid?
Casey Anthony?
Yeah, I opened up. It was the day.
Yeah, we knew it right away.
What a way to describe Casey Anthony.
Hot lady killed her kid, Casey Anthony.
You know what's great? The funny about the way you described that is like you put that and her killing a kid on the equal playing field. It wasn't like
Well,
who was
those are
that?
the only two things I know about her. To be
It's so bad. Every time I
It
think
wasn't
about
like who
dead
was
kid,
that
I think about hot
horrible?
girls.
Who was that horrible mother? You know, kind of like you like hot lady killed
Well,
a
she
kid.
killed her lady. I feel like bad mom is implied.
Bad mom, more like hot mom, dude.
Bad mommy.
baddie mom.
Yeah, you're a naughty mommy.
But it was the day after she got acquitted.
Yeah.
And I opened up with some joke about that, and it just turned real fast.
Yeah.
And before I knew, and I was still a new comic. I was maybe a year in, 2 years in, and it turned so fast. And they started booing, and then I like looked over, and the dude that booked me is just waving the cell phone.
You're looking for the coach to bring in the reliever.
Yeah,
You're like,
and
you see, they keep on hitting home runs off me, right?
And I was right up before the. I was right up before the headline. You know, I was like the feature act. So I was looking to him to like, what, you know, and he was just like, get the fuck off. You know?
Just don't make this worse because he's
So
got to go up there.
I said, I think I was like, all right, fuck you guys. I'm going home. And I walked off stage. And once I said I'm going home, then the place started applauding. Like, that's when the cheering came. But I remember, like, I went right outside, and there was, like, a comic there was smoking a cigarette. And I don't even smoke cigarettes, but I took one because I was shaking.
Yeah, you didn't care if that was crack.
It was. You know, it was like your worst case scenario. Like, you're like, oh, that must be the single worst thing that could possibly happen. And then it happened. And I remember one of the producers came out and was like, did you just tell that entire room to like fuck off? And I was like, yeah, I guess I did. He was like, did you get paid already? I said, yeah. And he goes, I would go home right the fuck now.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Well, yeah, because so you didn't do your time.
Yeah,
you didn't do your time, and then you cursed out.
Well,
the
I didn't do. They let me know we no longer.
Yeah, but you didn't.
This
do your
time of yours is not required.
Hey, player.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need you to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. He was Ed Hader that day.
I'm Ed Hader. You gotta
I'll say this, dude, about Ed Lover. They did not ask me to get off early, and they should have. He did not ask me to get off early, and then he went up there and fucking defended me. I love the guy for that. And I haven't seen him in a long time, but he was very good to his comics. And he got on there and he's like, you guys, he like got on them like that they were too harsh on me. He's like, it is hard to come up here. He's like, he's a young comic. He was like saying it. He's like, some of those jokes are funny. You guys weren't giving them shit. And actually, I've never seen that before, by the way, because normally you're just like, let's just fucking sweep it under the rug. Let's go on.
Or make fun of you.
Yeah.
Or make fun of me, which is also fair game, by the way.
Yeah,
also fair game. Like
custom.
if I'm the one who bombs and I eat shit that badly, and you need to bring the crowd back up by joining them and saying something funny about me, I'm not going to be offended at that either. That's also completely fucking fair game. He didn't do that. He fucking defended me. And you know what really sucked is that on that show specifically, the first show I was the only white comic. On that show I was the second white comic, and the first white comic that was on the show before me. Not only did he kill, and he went on right before me. Maybe it was too much white in a row. He went on right before me. He fucking murdered that place. And part of his shtick was being the white guy at like a black show. And this is like they had like hip hop music playing for everyone. So he like went up and like he did a whole thing of like being out of sorts with like the music and everything. He just played it well though. Like you don't want to pander, but he did it well. I know. And then, so now I'm coming off this show I did 2 months ago there. I'm thinking I'm great. I'm seeing him do great. I'm like, this is a fucking fantastic crowd. I probably went up overconfident.
Yeah. I would have started rapping. I would have spit 5 bars, dude. I would have had that place going crazy.
Like turn it into 8 Mile, like where he fucking forgets his lyrics.
Yeah. I'm a white boy, but my neck is red. I put Miracle Whip on my Wonder Bread. That from Scary Movie.
Dude, I'm so glad you told me that was from Scary. I forgot that, and I thought you just fucking did that.
Oh, dude, that would have been crazy if I was just nice like that.
I was like,
yeah, man. All I got is Caucasian bars, dude.
I'm about to ask you to start fucking.
Start rapping, dude.
Yeah, those are the shows though. Like getting booed off, it's like there's like bombs where it just feels like okay, whatever, and then there's bombs where you're like it takes a long time to shake them off.
I remember
you feel them on you for a while.
Sitting in my car, like physically shaking, like actually, actually shaking it off because it was like, oh God,
yeah, no, it has a physical. I know.
Tough.
But then once it like calmed down, I started thinking about it, and I looked at my calendar. I was like, I still have all these dates on my calendar. Like nobody's gonna
take them away from me.
Yeah, so it was like, it actually, I think in the long run was one of the best things that could have happened with me. Because I was like, all right, I survived it. Yeah. If that's the worst thing that can happen, I can do that. You
get numb to it eventually.
Yeah. And then but it also, I think it allows you to take more risks because you're like, if this is the absolute worst end result, then I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want because I can survive that. Yeah. If they took you out back and beat you at clubs or something, then you'd be like, all right, maybe I should be a little more careful.
Yeah, if you had to like lose money every time you bought, like you had to pay the club. Yeah. There's risk involved. You're right. You become numb to them. And to be honest, you probably will never bomb that same way. Even if you bomb that badly, it won't feel like that ever again. No. Because you have that like sort of disassociation to it. And also you do it just as you get through it and you realize it's not as dire. You're like the whole world isn't ending because you bombed. Yeah. You still have other gigs lined up. You also do just handle them better while you're on stage too. Yeah. Like you can kind of sometimes like I've laughed at myself on stage for how badly the show was going. Fuck, this is stupid.
You got to. If you're eating a dick, I've said I'd be like, wow, I'm eating a cock right now, and that usually goes well. Yeah, you are. You fucking suck. Yeah. And then all right, well, let's try this pussy joke.
Right. Hopefully. Then you try a joke, nothing happens, and you go back to shitting on yourself. They laugh.
Yeah. And then it's like, all right, well, I'm shitting on myself in crowd work for the next 5 minutes, and then I'm getting the fuck out.
That brewery show I told you guys about, it took me a while to shake that up to the point where it became part of my set talking about how bad that crowd was. Yeah. Like I started doing material on that crowd and I eventually let it go because I had to wear off the pain a little bit.
Yeah, man. It's like I literally have to take a shower after a bomb.
All right, guys. It's a bit too much podcast on all the socials. Like, subscribe.